Aeronautics up almost 9%, Bharat Forge up 6%. We'll talk about this in greater detail. In the meantime, it was a weak set of numbers from Sobha in the first quarter, but the company says the operational performance in the remaining 9 months of FY21 will be better than Q1. JC Sharma, the Vice Chairman and MD of Sobha, joins us now to talk about the earnings as well as their way forward. Mr. Sharma, thanks so much for being with us. What is the situation on the ground right now? The last time we spoke with you, you said that there are some green shoots. Demand has picked up a tad bit. But what are you betting on in terms of volumes as well as how is the demand now in key geographies?
Good morning and thank you for this opportunity. See, as last time when we had interacted, I was communicating to you and through you to the market that as far as the performance for the last month of the last quarter is concerned, it was significantly better than the first 2 months. The inquiries were almost at the pre-COVID level and good number of sales also had happened. Bangalore was doing very well vis-a-vis most of the other market. Then if you look at the current quarter, our guess is that last month in Bangalore, we had again a lockdown of about a week. On top of this, most of the Sundays, we were not allowed to function, which is normally a good day from the sales closure point of view. But despite that also, on balance, if you look at, we have done reasonably well, which validates what I was trying to communicate, that the second quarter will be better than the first quarter. And overall, we do believe that the remaining 3 quarters of this financial year will be better than the first quarter. On the building and the production side as well, since the initial first month of April and the first fortnight, literally no production happened. Keeping those things into mind, from this quarter onwards, we will have a better billing. On top of this, the migrant workers also have started coming back, which is a good sign. So net, while the environment still remains difficult, I think progressively it is going to become better and better is my view.
Okay, Mr. Sharma, good morning. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Lata.
Is there any improvement in realizations or the other way around? Is the delta lower?
See, neither we can say there is an improvement in the realization, nor we can say that the prices are falling. So, and if you really look at, the people are indeed opting for bigger homes. The last quarter need not to be an indicator quarter, but what we have noticed is that below 1 crore, we only sold 16% of our total sales. So 84% of new sales have taken place of the apartments which were above 1 crore. Similarly, if you look at from the funding point of view, 66% of the people have opted for the bank loans, which is significantly higher than what it used to be in the previous years.
Okay. So, let me then turn the question a bit. Of course, this could also mean that the rich are getting richer. But Mr. Sharma, will there be a problem with margins? We understand that some prices have gone up, you know, iron, some of the metal products and things like that. Will you maintain margins?
See, I believe that initially everybody would like to protect their margins and would like to begin with higher prices. But net looking at the overall India's demand-supply scenario, I do not foresee a much kind of a price increase which will impact the margins. Our margins should be stable going forward is what we believe. Otherwise, as you very correctly said, if the margins are getting impacted somewhere there is a demand, I think price increase in the product selectively also may happen.
So what's the launch pipeline this year? And, you know, in terms of sales volumes, in Q1 you did about 0.65 million square feet compared to 0.9 million square feet in the previous quarter. So sales volumes have fallen quarter on quarter. But going forward, what is the trajectory that we can expect? And what's your launch pipeline looking like?
The launch pipeline is significantly very large. It is in excess of about 14 million square feet. Huge number of projects in almost all the cities are being lined up. but we will wait for this quarter to launch the new projects. This is not the right environment. We also carry about 21 million square feet of current approved inventory on ongoing projects, which is more than sufficient for us to continue with our current sales momentum. Going forward, as you correctly put it across, that from 650,000 square feet, 488 crore of new sales, we should be doing better in this quarter.
Okay. Well, I don't know if this is an appropriate question to you.
Please do ask.
No. We understand that, private equity guys are interested in rental assets and they perhaps are striking a deal with one of your peer companies, Prestige. Are you looking at monetizing anything at all? I guess you're not too much in this business.
I'm honestly speaking not too much in this business, but I sometimes do feel that we Indian entrepreneurs, we are at a disadvantage. With a higher carrying interest cost, we create income-yielding assets of a lifetime, and during difficult times, if something of this sort happens, we feel bad. But the big picture remains that fundamentally, what I would like to emphasize, the core demand remains intact. The price stability still remains intact. The office space environment has not become as bad as we do anticipate. And it is just a matter of confidence. On the contrary, if you look at, with the low interest cost, banks flush with liquidity, and the way they are trying to compete with each other on the interest rates, things can only become better.
No, actually, so you took away my next question. I was just going to ask you, is it being a kicker, both for you in terms of a lower interest cost and more importantly, an enticement for the buyer, the lower interest cost?
See, the buyer level of satisfaction, if you look at today in India, we are struggling to get 140 to 150 rupees ARPU for the mobile phone which you are using 6 to 8 hours a day, 30 days a month. So the expectations of a buyer will always be exceeding whatever offerings you offer to them. Very difficult question. But the bigger picture what we are trying to communicate is that today they have no other option but to invest in a home if they do not own a home and they plan to live in a city. And from the pricing point of view, if you look at last 4 or 5 years, prices have indeed not gone up. With an interest cost of 10%, the prices remain where they were 3 to 4 years back, and still they are getting reasonably good deals. So I believe prices have bottomed out. It is just a question of, because suppliers of the homes or whatever they have today, they are strict. They take a call, which they should be doing it because they are great entrepreneurs. But net, I still believe from the pricing front, there is hardly any scope for the developers to bring it down any further.
Okay, I think the street likes what you're saying, Mr. Sharma. The stock is up 2.5%. Thanks a lot for joining us and giving us your views. So that's a optimistic, very optimistic Mr. J.C. Sharma of Sobha. The most positive I've seen him in, or I've heard him in a while.
Very constructive.
Yes, he said that prices have bottomed out and there's a big launch pipeline coming up, 14 million square feet, just waiting for the environment to get a bit more better. But let's do one thing, let's focus on the defense space because all of these stocks are doing extremely well.